Hello and welcome. For today's video, we're going to be giving you a first look at another vehicle from Aura, the sub-brand from Great Wall Motor. Showed you the Cat. We've showed you the Cat GT. Now it's time for the Ballet Cat, a retro-style EV that's targeted specifically at female buyers here in the Chinese market. Let's get started.
With hands-on test drives and reviews of exciting Chinese market vehicles, Wheelsboy is the #1 source for China auto insights. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook.
This car is basically a smaller version of the Aura Punk Cat that debuted at the 2021 Shanghai Auto Show. That car is also going into production and will be targeted more at male buyers. We'll be sure to give you a look at that when it hits the market. The Punk Cat was essentially a four-door version of a Volkswagen Beetle with an EV powertrain, and the Ballet Cat is only slightly less shameless when it comes to aping that classic design. The headlights have been swapped from a round design to a more squared-off shape, but overall, it definitely still looks like a Beetle. When you see this thing in pictures, it actually looks much smaller than it is in person. The dimensions are much closer to that of a VW Tiguan than they are a VW Beetle. Copyright issues aside, there is a lot of fun to be had on the outside of the Ballet Cat with a lot of retro design elements, such as this front and rear chrome-colored bumper caps with these kind of bumperettes on them. You also have vintage-style wheels. These look like steel wheels, but trust me, they're definitely alloys. Tons of chrome all over the car here on the side view mirror caps, and then here on the door handles, which also have a very vintage vibe. Now, they are electrically operated. They're not mechanical door handles. They also have a driver's side keyhole. I haven't seen a traditional keyhole like this on a new electric vehicle in a very long time, or maybe I've never seen one ever. The other thing to point out about these door handles is these are one of the elements that was specifically designed for female buyers, at least as I'm told by the people here at the dealership. This handle is a little bit lower than the average door handle on a car to accommodate the lower average height for women. I'm about 1.7273 meters tall, about 5'9", and I have to say, it doesn't really feel any lower than another door handle, but that's what I'm told. There are no official numbers on the rear cargo capacity of the Ballet Cat, but it does have this massive liftback or hatchback rear opening. Space, at least to my eyes, doesn't look that impressive, and it has a really high load floor because of the design. The seats do fold down, however. The interior of the Ballet Cat continues the vintage vibes, but you'd be hard-pressed to confuse it with the inside of a VW Beetle, at least. There are a few standout features to me. The first is this steering wheel, which in pictures looks larger than a regular steering wheel, but I'm told that it's actually slightly smaller. I think they said it was 37 centimeters versus the average of 40 centimeters for a steering wheel. This again is allegedly for female buyers. They also said that the rim itself was slightly thicker than a normal steering wheel, but I'm actually getting the opposite feeling from that. Regardless, my favorite part is down here. That's this kind of half ring of chrome or metal, I believe it's actually real metal, that operates the horn, much like you would have in a vintage vehicle. Then we have this, how do I put it, unique faux crystal trim on the center console, which surrounds a not so vintage wireless charging pad. There are two screens inside of this car, a 10.25-inch instrument cluster, and then an infotainment screen, which I believe measures 12.3 inches. Those are integrated into a single panel here on the dash, and I have to say I'm impressed that they don't completely ruin the vintage vibes of this car. Now, a lot of the elements that are designed specifically for female buyers, like the height of the door handle and the shape of the steering wheel, are relatively subtle. One not so subtle one can be found here in the menu, specifically in the driving modes. There is, of course, automatic. There's standard, comfort, sport, custom, and 女神. 女神 translates to goddess, and apparently what it does is it lowers the steering effort in the steering wheel when you're driving on the road. Now, I don't know what that feels like because I'm not going to be able to do a full review, a test drive today, but trust us, we're going to do a full review, and you are definitely going to want to subscribe to see that, because I personally would love to know what goddess mode is like when you're on the road. One of the advantages to being about as big as a VW Tiguan is that you have the space of a VW Tiguan as well. The rear legroom, especially when the seat is adjusted for me, is quite copious. Rear headroom, not so good, but overall a pretty comfortable place to sit. You have two USB ports here, Type C and a regular traditional USB port. Fold-down armrest with cup holders. Your floor is honestly, well, it's pretty high, but that's a common problem with electric cars because, well, that's where they put the battery. There's nothing retro about the powertrain of the Ballet Cat, however. This thing has a single front-mounted electric motor making 126 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque. That's about 170 horsepower and 185 pound-feet. This platform is the same one that underpins the Cat and Cat GT, and is also the one that will be underneath the Punk Cat when it debuts later this year, but it will be larger in the case of the Punk Cat. There are two battery packs currently available. One is a 49.9 kilowatt hour pack. The other is 60.5 kilowatt hours. Those offer 401 and 500 kilometers of CLTC range, respectively. That's going to do it for our first look at the Aura Ballet Cat. Be sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, hit the bell so you can know when we debut our full review of this car, including test drive. That should be coming very soon. As always, be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook as well. Links in the description below. Thanks for watching.